What happens when a man is caught plotting to blow up an entire government? Guy Fawkes found out the hard way. Fawkes was one of the key figures behind the Gunpowder Plot of 1605, an audacious attempt to assassinate King James I and the entire British Parliament. But what happened to this man? His execution was not just a death sentence. It was a brutal public spectacle that would become a chilling reminder of the lengths to which the monarchy would go to protect its power. Guy Fawkes was born in 1570 in the city of York, England, into a turbulent time. The country was embroiled in a long-standing religious conflict. England had broken away from the Roman Catholic Church under Henry VIII, but Catholicism still held a firm grip on many in the population. By the time Fawkes was a young man, England was firmly Protestant under the rule of Queen Elizabeth I, and Catholics faced severe persecution. The 1590s saw the rise of a series of anti-Catholic laws, and the Catholic community found itself more isolated and oppressed than ever before. Fawkes, born into a Protestant family, chose to convert to Catholicism in his youth. His newfound faith set him apart from many of his peers, but it also connected him to a larger network of English Catholics who sought to resist the Protestant rule. Fawkes' decision to embrace Catholicism wasn't just a personal choice. It was a commitment to a cause that many believed would bring an end to the oppression of Catholics. In his early adulthood, Fawkes left England and traveled to Europe, where he served as a soldier. During his time fighting in the 80 Years' War in the 17th century Spanish Netherlands, he was exposed to the intense struggles between Catholic Spain and Protestant forces. It was here that he honed his skills in warfare and explosives, setting the stage for his future involvement in the Gunpowder Plot. His military background would later make him an ideal candidate for a plan that required someone capable of handling gunpowder and executing a dangerous mission. When Fawkes returned to England in 1604, he became involved in a clandestine group of Catholic conspirators. The group was led by Robert Catesby, who, disillusioned with the continued oppression of Catholics, devised a plan to blow up the House of Lords during the state opening of Parliament. Their ultimate goal was to kill King James I, along with the entire Protestant leadership, in a single deadly blow. In this act, they hoped to ignite a Catholic uprising that would restore Catholicism to the throne. Fawkes was recruited by Catesby not only for his military experience, but also for his steadfast commitment to the cause. His role in the plot was clear. He was to guard the barrels of gunpowder that would be placed beneath the House of Lords. The plan was daring, bold, and risky, but the conspirators believed they had no other choice but to take such extreme action. With the government still enforcing laws that persecuted Catholics, the Gunpowder Plot represented the final stand for those who believed that peaceful means of protest had failed. This was no ordinary rebellion. The plot was a desperate attempt to restore Catholic power by eliminating the Protestant monarchy. Fawkes, along with his fellow conspirators, was determined to strike at the heart of English power, with the hope that their actions would ignite the change they had so long desired. In the dark of night, Fawkes and his fellow plotters worked in secrecy, preparing for the fateful day when they would attempt to bring down the government that had oppressed them for so long. Little did they know, their plans would soon be thwarted. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605 was more than just a simple attempt at regicide. It was a desperate high-stakes scheme designed to strike fear into the heart of the English monarchy and restore the Catholic faith to the throne. Led by Robert Catesby, a devout Catholic disillusioned by the Protestant rule of King James I, the plot's goal was nothing short of a revolution. The conspirators planned to destroy the House of Lords with 36 barrels of gunpowder, killing King James I, his family, and most of the Protestant leadership in one blow. Fawkes's role was crucial. As the man assigned to ignite the gunpowder, he became the face of the plot. The plan was simple but deadly. The conspirators intended to attack Parliament during the state opening, when the king and his officials would be gathered in one place. By killing the king, they hoped to instigate a Catholic uprising that would overthrow the Protestant regime. For months, Fawkes and the conspirators meticulously prepared. They rented a cellar directly beneath the House of Lords, where they secretly stored the massive quantity of gunpowder. The plot was set for November 5th, 1605, a date that would soon be etched into history. But their scheme was undone before it could even reach fruition. On the eve of the plot, an anonymous letter was sent to Lord Monteagle, a Catholic sympathizer, warning him to stay away from Parliament on the day of the opening. The letter's contents were cryptic, but clear enough to raise suspicion. Monteagle, acting quickly, brought the letter to the authorities. This was the first sign of betrayal, and it set off a chain of events that would lead to the downfall of the entire plot. Authorities acted fast, searching the cellars of Parliament. On the night of November 4th, 1605, Guy Fawkes was discovered guarding the barrels of gunpowder. He was caught red-handed, standing ready to light the fuse that would have killed the king and his ministers. The plotters had failed, and Fawkes was arrested on the spot. The arrest of Guy Fawkes was swift, but it marked the beginning of a grim and torturous journey. Fawkes, seemingly unshaken by his capture, remained resolute. He initially denied any knowledge of the plot, insisting that he had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. However, his fate was sealed the moment he was caught with the gunpowder. Fawkes was taken to the Tower of London, where he would be interrogated under the brutal methods of the time. The authorities had no intention of allowing him to escape the full weight of their punishment. The methods used to extract confessions were well known for their cruelty, and Fawkes would not be spared. Torture was the preferred means of interrogation, an attempt to break the strongest wills and force a confession from the conspirators. Fawkes, however, proved to be a man of remarkable resilience. For days, he endured unspeakable pain, refusing to implicate his fellow conspirators or reveal more details of the plot. Despite the agony he suffered, he did not break. His silence was a testament to his dedication to the cause, but eventually the torture became too much, and Fawkes began to confess, although the details were vague and fragmented. Guy Fawkes' execution on January 31st, 1606, was not merely a death sentence. It was a public spectacle designed to send a powerful message to any would-be conspirators. The authorities wanted to ensure that the gruesome death of Fawkes would serve as a warning to anyone who dared challenge the monarchy. Fawkes' punishment was one of the most brutal methods of execution known at the time: hanging, drawing, and quartering. This horrific ritual was designed to break both the body and the spirit, ensuring that the condemned would suffer every possible humiliation and pain before death. Fawkes was first hanged until he was almost dead, the ropes tightening around his neck until he lost consciousness. But this was only the beginning. After being cut down, he was subjected to drawing the removal of his innards in a public display. His intestines and other internal organs were pulled from his body in front of a jeering crowd. The final act, however, was the most brutal of all: quartering. Fawkes' body was cut into 4 pieces, each part to be displayed as a warning to anyone who might consider plotting against the crown. But Fawkes' execution did not unfold as expected. As he was being led to the scaffold, he managed to leap from the platform, breaking his neck in the process. In a twisted twist of fate, Fawkes avoided the full agony of the execution, dying instantly from the fall. His body, however, was still dismembered and displayed, his remains scattered across the streets to serve as a grim reminder of the fate awaiting traitors. The execution of Guy Fawkes was a turning point in English history. While it eliminated one of the key figures behind the Gunpowder Plot, it also cemented Fawkes' place as a symbol of resistance. Over time, Fawkes' name became synonymous with defiance against oppressive power. Despite the failure of the plot, the legacy of Fawkes and his fellow conspirators continued to shape public consciousness. November 5th, the day the plot was discovered, became a day of commemoration, celebrated annually in Britain as Bonfire Night. The tradition of burning effigies of Guy Fawkes on bonfires symbolized the burning away of treason and the reaffirmation of loyalty to the crown. But in a strange twist, Guy Fawkes' image has endured as a symbol of protest and resistance. In modern times, Fawkes' face has become a rallying symbol for those who challenge authority, often appearing on masks worn by protesters and activists around the world.